I see a really common pattern with junior PMs and product owners or associate product owners. And honestly, I've felt it myself early on in my career. Whenever you walk into a room full of engineers, you feel intimidated. You worry that you aren't technical enough to have a real conversation with them. And usually the first instinct is to think, okay, I need to fix this. I need to learn how to code. I need to go buy a Python course on Udemy and learn how to build an app. Now look, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Learning the basics of code can help a bit. It might help you understand syntax, or maybe how to run a simple SQL query. That's fine. But if you are spending your weekends trying to build a React app from scratch, because you think that's what earns you respect as a product manager, you are solving the wrong problem, in my opinion. Because the biggest lie in our industry is that to be a technical PM, you need to know how to write code. You don't. Your engineers have Copilot for that. And honestly, they probably don't want your code anywhere near production anyway. What they need from you isn't syntax, it's architecture. They need you to understand trade-offs. So in this video, I want to talk you through 3 technical concepts that will actually earn you the respect of your engineering team without you ever needing to become a developer. But before we get into the technical stuff, we need to clear up a massive misunderstanding because I see PMs get this wrong all the time. Learning design system does not mean telling your engineers how to do their job. If you start dictating the tech task, that is the quickest way to destroy a relationship with the team. Think of it like building a dream home. You are the homeowner, your tech lead or solution architect is the architect. If you walk into the construction site and say, hey, I want you to use this specific brand of cement from Home Depot, now you are being annoying because you're stepping on their toes. But if you tell them, hey, just so you know, this house needs to survive a hurricane because we live in Florida, now you are giving them constraints. Now they know they need to use reinforced concrete, for instance. Your job isn't to pick the cement. Your job is to know that hurricanes exist. So let's look at the first hurricane concept, the API. You hear API in every stand-up, right? Is the API ready? The API is broken. But do you know what it actually represents in your business model? The best way to think about API is like a waiter in a restaurant. Now imagine you are the customer sitting at the table. That's your client or the mobile app that users interact with. Now the kitchen is in the back, remember. This is your database where all the information lives. Now, as the customer, you don't just walk into the kitchen and start frying your own burger, will you? That would spell chaos. Instead, you hand your order to the waiter, which is your API. The waiter then runs into the kitchen, gets a response, which is your burger, and brings it back to you. That's really it. It's that simple. That's an API. Now, why does this matter for your roadmap? This is where strategy comes in. Every time you ask for a new feature, you are usually asking for a new item on the menu. If you want to show user history on a profile page, for instance, you need to ask your tech lead one specific question. Do we already have an endpoint for this? Or do we need to build a new one? If the answer is we need a new one, your quick win feature just became a 2-week project. And understanding that difference is how you stop frustrating your team with unrealistic deadlines. The second concept is data. And don't worry, you don't need to memorize complex SQL queries. You just need to know the difference between structured and unstructured data, or as the devs say, SQL versus NoSQL. I like to think of SQL as a filing cabinet. Everything has a specific folder. If you want to file a document, it has to fit perfectly. It is strict, it is rigid, but it's incredibly accurate. This is what you want for things like payments or user logins. You cannot afford to lose a transaction just because it didn't fit. Now, on the other hand, you've got NoSQL, which is like a laundry basket. You can throw anything in there. Shirts, socks, towels, it doesn't matter. It's flexible and fast, but it can get messy very quickly. This is great for things like social media feeds or comments, where the data shape changes constantly. Here is the senior PM move. When you are launching a new product, ask your team, are we modeling this for flexibility or for consistency? If you pick the laundry basket for your payment system, then you are building tech debt that is going to come back and haunt you in 6 months. Finally, let's talk about the most expensive trade-off. Where does the logic live? Let's say you are building a filter feature for a shopping app. You actually have 2 choices here. Choice A is the client side. This means the phone downloads all 1,000 products and filters them right on the device. It feels instant for the user, which is great. But the downside is it drains their battery and it eats up their data plan. Choice B is server side. This means the phone asks the server to filter the list and only sends back the 10 items you actually want. It's efficient for the phone, but it's much slower because it needs the internet for every single click. Now, if you are building for users in London or New York with high-speed 5G, maybe client side is fine. But if you are building for users with older phones or spotty internet, like users on the subway, and you choose the client side logic, you've just killed your product. A technical PM doesn't write the code for the filter. A technical PM says, hey team, our users have low bandwidth, so let's move this logic to the server and save their data. That right there, that is product strategy. Look, the moral of the story is this: you don't need to know how to stack the bricks. You just need to know how the building stands up. So stop trying to be a C-tier developer and start being an A-tier product architect. I've actually put together a list of the 5 system design questions I ask in every engineering kickoff. I'll drop them in the description below so you can copy and paste them into your next PRD. And if you're currently fighting with your stakeholders about dates and timeline, you should definitely watch this next video where I break down why timeline roadmaps are setting you up to fail. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.